Hey everybody, how you doing? Greg from Park Training here. Hope you're all doing well. Got a really fun video for you today. Something I've been working on for a few weeks. As you all know, a few weeks ago we were invited out to Universal Studios Hollywood for the unveiling of the Fast and Furious Dodge Charger ride vehicle. We got to see the ceremony. They kicked off the Mega Movie Summer. If you haven't gone yet, definitely check out Mega Movie Summer. It's amazing. And then obviously they unveiled one of the ride vehicles for the Fast and Furious supercharged coaster. So in this video here, we're going to take some time and kind of walk through the unveiling, walk through some details of the ride vehicle. So as you may or may not know, the same day they actually also released a 30-second like teaser video with some animation, and then it also used some film footage out of that animation or that trailer. There was about 8 seconds that was actually animation of the coaster itself. So we'll kind of go through that. We're not going to just show 8 seconds of it. I took some stills, and we're going to kind of go through and compare it to current construction that's going on at the park. So there's the sound walls and different things. So we'll kind of go with some live pictures that we've taken, and then some of the animated stuff that was there. We still have not seen a full animated video of Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift. So hopefully we'll get that soon. And then lastly, what I want to cover today is kind of the title of this video, which is Fast and Furious Hollywood What If. If you've been following our site for a while, you'll know that I wasn't really excited about the theme of this coaster. I will say, I think that this coaster is going to be the best coaster in California when it opens. Currently, I think that Twisted Colossus at Magic Mountain is the best coaster in California. I love it. I think it's actually gotten better with age over the last, 11 years. So I absolutely love it. I think it's 5 or 6 on my coaster rankings right now. But I fully believe that this coaster at Universal Studios Hollywood will be the best coaster in California when it opens, despite me not being completely sold on the theme. I've got my reasons for that. I'll kind of get into that when I get to that section of this video. But I kind of want to have some fun and talk about some of my ideas of what this coaster could have been themed after. So we're going to have some fun after we kind of go through and step through the ride vehicle that was unveiled. So before I get into it, make sure you click below to subscribe. It's always greatly appreciated. All right, so we're going to start off just with some of the video of the unveiling. This was again right after they kind of pulled off the covering there. We got a chance to get some pictures, get up close, get some pictures and video of the ride vehicle, which absolutely looks amazing. It looks like a Dodge Charger. It's got the exhaust, it's got the spoilers, it's got all of the different the chrome pieces and things like that. So basically each one of the trains will have 4 ride vehicles on it, so which is great. One of them, when we get into animation, is Brian or Paul Walker's car. Nice little tribute there, which will be nice. So basically each one will have 4 of the Fast and Furious vehicles per train. The train spin. So if you see here on the pull through car that they've been using to do the pull through, you can see the spinning mechanism. This is actually one of the ride vehicles. It is not. There's obviously some coverings on it to protect it as they do the pull through, but that is basically the mechanism that will allow it to spin. It is a controlled spin, so it is not something that's going to be a free spinning thing like a spinning mouse or something like that. It is a controlled spin through the coaster, so it's going to be pretty similar ride experience. No matter when you ride it, you're not going to get more spinning if you have more weight on one side or the other side, like a lot of spinning coasters. So that is something that will be controlled. If you've never ridden one of these coasters that actually spins and has inversions, I'll be honest, they don't. They're not as bad as you might think. The forces and the inversions are not anywhere near as bad as you might think. I've ridden Time Traveler at Silver Dollar City. Obviously, different manufacturer, different coaster, but kind of the same kind of thing where you have the inversions while you're spinning. And to be honest, was completely fine with it. I'm not really worried about that aspect of it. In fact, I think it actually helps with some of the forces. If you don't do good with high speed forces, this will be the fastest universal coaster, I think, in the United States. I think there might be, I think in Japan, one of the coasters might be faster than this, but it's 72 miles an hour. It will be it's faster than Velocicoaster. It's faster than Stardust Racers at Epic Universe as well. So anyway, yeah, so this is, like I said, the ride vehicle. It's even got a little instrument panel on it. It's lap bars only, which is fantastic. I'm kind of surprised, but not really. Obviously, Velocicoaster also is lap bars only. But sometimes in California, there's a lot of different, kind of aspects to the way that they do things. Even like things like height requirements in California for the same kind of ride are higher here than they would be in, say, like Texas or Florida. But in this case here, lap bars only, which is great. So yeah, so here's a few more pictures of the ride vehicle that's currently sitting at Universal Studios Hollywood. Make sure you go check it out. All right, so for this next section, we're going to look a little bit at the animation of the coaster. So here's the 8 seconds. I cut it up from the 30-second video. So here's the 8 seconds of the actual of the teaser that was actually animation of the coaster. So here you go. So as we kind of cut that out and take some stills from that, here you can see here are some images of where the sound walls are that they are currently building in the park. These are basically right up against the tram road here. This is for the obviously for the neighbors. There was a lot of requirements here to build this coaster for sound walls and sound restrictions and things like that. So this is basically so they can run the coaster, later on. Obviously during Halloween Horror Nights, they want to be able to run the coaster, so they have to create these sound walls in order to tamp down the sound for the neighbors. So here that you will see the sound walls all the way across down the hill. As far as we know, the look over by Super Silly Fun World, or Super Silly Funland, excuse me, will still be there. We haven't heard anything about that going away, so we'll still be able to get a lot of great coaster pictures and things like that in video from that side of the park. And you can even see in this shot right here the VIP dining area and the French Street restaurants are still there. So this is the kind of the backside of that, basically leading up to the station. And then you can see the Frankenstein parking structure right there. If you're not aware, Super Silly Funland actually sits on the very top of the Frankenstein parking structure at Universal Studios Hollywood. So you can still kind of see that there as well. And then some of these shots here, kind of going over the Starway here. This is kind of the biggest of the sound walls. I don't know if this is really considered a wall, but sound barriers, so to speak, kind of over the Starway there. And then there will be another barrier kind of down here on the very bottom inversion, which we did not see in the animation, but you can see that inversion here. And there will be another kind of glass looking plastic, whatever. It's going to have the same look as the one over the Starway, the sound wall there. So again, you can kind of get a good idea of the spinning mechanism in these animated video and this animated video and these still photos from that. So yeah, it's looking really great, and can't wait for you all to see it. All right, so the final part of this video, I wanted to have some fun. And my whole thought throughout the building and the announcement and the creation of this coaster was that I thought that just having it Fast and Furious was kind of too narrow. This is the third time that they've attempted to build a Fast and Furious attraction at this park. The first one really didn't work. There was the cars that on the tram road, and they danced on the Kuka arms, the roller coaster arms, and they had fire effects and things like that. Obviously, lasted a couple years, maybe a year and a half, 2 years, and then it went away. And then Fast and Furious Supercharged came. The grand finale of the studio tour never really worked. It was never, a lot of people, you would hear cheers in the studio tour, but it for a long-term thing, it just didn't really work. And then obviously now that went away because they are building this coaster. But my kind of thought was, instead of building just on Fast and Furious, if you've done the studio tour for years and years and years, you know that movie cars are a big part of the studio tour. They're always talking about these amazing movie cars. My thought was to retheme each one of the vehicles to a different film, right? So you can have your Fast and Furious, you can have your Dodge Charger that we have, but each ride vehicle was themed after another Universal movie car, and then on-ride audio for that vehicle was themed to that film. Right. So if you have Fast and Furious, if you're in the Dodge Charger, your music is Fast and Furious. And then you have each train, and each of the four vehicles are themed to a different film. So at first I was going to go all fancy, and I was going to try to do some AI art and create some AI art for coaster ride vehicles for these different franchises. It didn't work. AI sucks. I hate it. I don't like to use it for art at all. I will never do it again. So I kind of wanted to kind of go through some of my ideas here for some of the ride vehicles that, some of them are pretty obvious. And then some of them might be like, oh, that would be kind of cool. So the first one, obviously, the one that, would be amazing would be the DeLorean from Back to the Future as a ride vehicle, one of the four on the train. Obviously there's more than four that I'm going to talk about. So each train would have like a different, four different franchises, so to speak. That would also increase the rewritability because you're going to try and get every single franchise with all these different ride vehicles, the music that goes along with it, and on the coaster. So that was kind of my thought. In addition to that, merchandising for not only the coaster itself but all of these franchises would be off the charts. I don't really, that's one of the big things I've noticed about Fast and Furious is merchandising isn't really there at the park. You've got Jaws everywhere, which, only has studio tour. You've got Back to the Future that doesn't really have anything at the park anymore. Even E.T., all these things, but you don't really see a whole lot of Fast and Furious. And it seems weird to me that they're pushing this really multi-million-dollar coaster on a franchise that doesn't really have a lot of marketing capabilities. But anyway, I digress. So let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to share. So obviously some of them are pretty self-explanatory. Obviously the first one that everyone thinks of, and we'll start with, is the DeLorean from Back to the Future as a ride vehicle. Think of the Dodge Charger that they just unveiled, but it's a DeLorean, obviously, convertible DeLorean, so to speak, and, has the Back to the Future music, going along with it, 0 to 88. Obviously, the coaster doesn't go quite that fast, but it would really be awesome to have that on there. One of the other ones, vehicles that would be awesome, something that's been rumored to be the coaster that's coming to Universal Studios Florida, would be Ecto 1 from Ghostbusters. Again, same thing. You've got, your convertible Ecto 1 themed to this, similar, as great looking as that Dodge Charger is. And then obviously you've got the Ghostbuster music, onboard audio going along with it. You're chasing ghosts, things like that. I also had an idea for a couple of other ones that are kind of already at the park, but I think would still be cool, would be, Bumblebee from Transformers, even though there's a Transformers attraction, but you could have the Bumblebee ride vehicle. You could have the Jeep from Jurassic Park ride vehicle. Again, we still have Jurassic World, but this is, kind of ride the movies kind of thing. You have your Jurassic Park Jeep, would be pretty awesome as well. Another one that currently at the park that, again, I think would be really awesome is the kind of convertible from the Mummy that they have had at the picture that they've had on the picture cards at the top of the park and in the studio tour. Again, you got your Mummy music. That would be pretty awesome. Animal House, the Animal House car, the Blues Brothers, the Blues Mobile would be amazing as well. Um, there's been rumors that the James Bond coaster is coming to Universal Studios in the UK. You got the James Bond car would be amazing. You've got Bourne, the Bourne franchise the Universal has. You've got the little Mini Cooper from the Bourne Identity would be pretty amazing. And again, you're kind of showing that off. You could even go to the hot rod route with, American Graffiti. You've got those vehicles that are kind of classic, and you're playing, classic rock music or, American Graffiti, era music on the ride vehicle. So, just kind of some endless possibilities that would not only expand the merchandising, but just really, would have been really fun on this coaster. Would have really brought in, a really rewritable era. You could also even have the different Fast and Furious cars that they have now. So you could have the Charger, you can have the Supra, the different ones that they're currently featuring on the coaster in addition. So maybe like each train has one Fast and Furious car and then three of the other, franchises, or so to speak. Just think that would have been really fun, a really good way to kind of expand the theming of this coaster and not just having it Fast and Furious. So that's kind of my idea. Let me know what you think in the comments. I think that would have been a really fun project. I think it would have been, amazing. Again, I think the coaster is going to be great itself. The coaster is going to be amazing. I'm looking forward to it. I'm really can't wait to ride it. I can't wait to see it testing. But it's Fast and Furious again. So it just kind of I'm not sure how sustainable that franchise is. All right, everybody. Well, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate. Hope you had a good time watching this as much as I had putting it together. I've been putting it together for a couple weeks, and I'm really excited to kind of share it with all of you. So take care, and we will talk to you soon.